Let's see, are we up and cooking? It says I'm live, so we'll see what's happening out there. Hey everybody! 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 Hang on. Okay, I think I'm working fantastic. Whew. Alright, hi everybody. It's a mess over here at Meyers as I'm going to take a look at our ongoing system build here today. Got a couple of steps I want to show you today. And I do have the 4090 out, but I can't guarantee we're going to put it in today. We'll see. The problem is it's just very difficult for me to get around all this stuff. So anyway, before we get too involved here, welcome to the Wednesday edition of the Mike Meyers live stream, Ask Mike Anything. The goal of this live stream is to let you guys ask me questions for CompTIA certifications. And I'm always glad to answer those questions for you. I'm going a little slow here, maybe because, as usual, there's almost nobody here at the very beginning. So I'm going to take it easy a little bit. As you guys can see, it's really messy up here today. And Dave Rush, I need to warn you, I'm having a little trouble even seeing the chat window. I have to use this screen to look at this box. So we're kind of doing an Apollo 13 kind of day today. So bear with me. Gosh, Tolwyn, you actually caught Homestar Runner, my song. You continue to impress me, young man. Everybody. But let me go ahead and take a look at some questions here. I am stalling here a little bit, guys, because we have 15 people. Bearded IT Dad, how's it going, man? Haven't seen you for a while. You know what? We're just going to go for it. Just let's go for it and see what happens, all right? Strong Bad reading emails. Is it running yet? Yes, well, it's not running right now. Right now it's off. But we'll be turning it on shortly here. But let's just go ahead and dive into this beastie. As you can see, if you take a good close look, you can see that everything's mounted, and I will admit that I gave it one test boot already to make sure the thing came up. So yeah, it's coming up. But that does bring up an interesting point that really happens a lot of times on a complicated system build like this, is that just because you put it all together in the open and tested it, that only tells you the components are right. It doesn't tell you that you've got everything else plugged in correctly. And now that I've got this thing wired up, it did boot right up, thank goodness. Actually, on this particular motherboard, it has a do not boot up if keyboard isn't present option, which had me going there for a minute, but I plugged in the keyboard and it popped right over. I have it set to a very slow boot on purpose. It's got a memory test and everything built in, so it takes it a good 45 seconds to boot up. But what I want you to look at first and foremost is look how pretty it is. Didn't I do a nice job? So I want you to just take a good hard look at that. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? There we go. And isn't it pretty? Yes, it's very, very pretty. Well, I wish I could, well, maybe I can. Let me just unplug the power for a second. I want to show you the back, because the back is not pretty at all, but it is, everything's nicely tucked away. So let me, please don't fall. I told you it was, they cough, they wheeze. All right, so let me just bring the other camera in on this so you guys can see this. Don't laugh at me too hard. All right. So here's the back of the animal. And as you guys can see, let me focus that a little bit. There we go. Let me focus it better. There we go. All right, so as you can see, I got a big old wad of cables. So what's interesting is that I've got a plate that I'll put that fits right here. And once that's fit in, I will pretty much crush this in. Let me qualify that when I say crush. I'll do a nice job, but everything will be laid flat and shaped up so it will fit well into that bay. I got like that much space. Careful there. I got like that much space deep, that wide, and that high. which is room for tons of ugly, ugly cables. But, you know, man, it took me a little while to do it. So the first step is when you're mounting a new motherboard like this, and you really want to do good cable management. You know, people get into big arguments about this. My attitude is just screw down the motherboard. Just screw it down. The motherboard's going to go where it's going to go. It's not like you can shift that. So get the motherboard screwed in. And then take all of your extra outside cables, all these beasties, and one at a time. Started with the front I/O and just marched my way down to the USB and everything. And I just very carefully fed these in wherever I could, so that they would come out just enough to get to the edge of the motherboard connector there, and then it fit right back in. So life is good there. It took me a solid, well, for me a long time. It took me 2 hours to put all this together. Let me get this turned back so you guys can see the front. So you notice the fan is all mounted, the radiator's mounted. I've got the 3 fans up and cooking. Everything's blowing nice. What was interesting is they said have the fan sucked down, and I've never been of that attitude, but maybe I have, and it's been a while since I did it, because I'm very concerned about airflow with this particular system, and so they're having to pull down. So that's pulling down, the CPU is pulling in, and I don't have them set up yet, but my next step after everything's cooking is I'm going to put 3 more fans at the bottom, and I don't care what anybody says, I'm going to push the air out through the bottom. I've got about that much airspace underneath this thing to push out air. It's snug, but we should be okay. And as I look through this, there's not a whole other lot of ventilation options. Radiator's taking all this, the front's all glass. I've got a couple of holes here. I could actually drop another 120 fan right here if I wanted. But the idea is I want to get a good airflow going, so I'm going to be tugging from the top mainly, and then blowing down from the bottom. The CPU, the power supply, is kind of a different animal because he's physically separated from the rest of the system. So his air, almost no matter how I do it, it's going to be just fine. So I'm not going to be worried about that at all. So the goal here is going to be I'm going to be pulling cool air in from the top and then pushing it out through the bottom. And unless somebody else tells me that's a bad idea, that's what I'm going to go for. So let's go ahead and let me put the power back in. So guys, when I tell you it's an Apollo 13 kind of day, I am not kidding, because this little sucker, you know, I was supposed to be doing this yesterday, and like I tell the IRS every year, I forgot. But let's see if she boots up. I wasn't too worried about that since I said I tested already. You can't read it, but right there is the power on self-test. And this motherboard book actually came up with postcodes. All right, I use them a little bit. And that was the whole keyboard thing. I was getting a post error, and it said, no console input detected. See, I was expecting it to give me the old F1 on boot kind of thing, but it didn't do it. And of course, now I've been telling you guys this thing takes forever to boot, and look what happens today. She's already up. Now, right now it's structured, if it can't find anything to boot off of, it is going to go ahead and go into the system setup. So what I do have with me this time is a handy dandy little system recovery disk that I made in my Windows 10 box. Those system recovery disks are full-blown copies of Windows installation. It's all in here. So people don't remember, but the Windows recovery environment and the Windows pre-installation environment are very, very similar pieces of software. And so why not have them all do the same thing? And that's what's happening right here. So do I feel lucky? All right, so I'm just going to shove it into an arbitrary USB slot. Even that's a risk on a lot of these systems. They're going to be looking for, on boot to USB, they're going to be looking at it to be at a very specific location. If it doesn't boot up, well, I'll be a sad panda, but that's about it. So let's go ahead and let me get this thing started up. Shut it down. Alright, so with any luck here, kids, we should go straight into Windows, is my hope. I don't want to do a full-blown Windows install right now, but what I would like to do, I saw somebody ask, is that boot order going to bite me in the rear end? And the right answer is I don't know. So we're going to find out together right now. Oh, the boot's starting. Ooh, that's a Windows spinner. We've got a Windows spinner. Yeah. I'm feeling so much better. Again, I'm not going to go through the full install. Start repair? I'm a little rusty. Come on, puppy. I messed up. It's not that big of a deal. Look, the important thing is that it sees the system. I'm scrambling to come up with a quick way. I made the wrong kind of disk. If I had put the system image from my computer on this as well, I could have gone to system image recovery and done installation from that way. But I forgot. So, oh well. Shoot. Oh. It's not a bad start for the day. I even have like real Windows installation media. I should have just grabbed one of those, but yeah, I was 6 minutes away from starting the show today, and I was in a bit of a panic. But the fact that it sees Windows makes me very, very happy. So I'm excited about that. The trick down. Yeah, I've actually got all the big power cables ready to go for the new video card, but without the ability to boot into Windows, I don't know, it just seems boring. The other problem is I got to do some fairly hairy surgery here. You know what? We'll give it a few minutes. Let's see what happens. We're gonna jump through a few hoops in hopes of getting the video card installed. If nothing else, we can handle the physical aspect of it. Ugh. Man, I did a good job. So this thing has another feature that I've never seen before. It's kind of hard to show you, but any you guys ever tried to install a PCIe video, any card, any 16-lane card? One of the big challenges you run into is that sometimes it's really hard to physically remove the card. You know, if you got to readjust something or whatever it might be. And this motherboard has a button. It's the dangest thing I've ever seen in my life. And you press the button and it moves the back of the PCIe connector back for you. I think that's kind of cute. So, oh boy, here we go. Alright, so this is 1, 2, 3 of these have to go. I'm not sure which are the right ones. I always love the way they make these as thumb screws, but you need the grip of a plumber to be able to actually do this. Don't lose those. You're going to want those, Mikey boy. Do a dry fit. How's this looking? Oh, geez, of course. I have to take out 4 of these, not just 3. Then you have to tell me where I put my screwdriver. Okay, that's good. I've never worked with a card this physically big before. Never this heavy, nor this large. I can drop one of these back in. I usually have people, hey Mike, why don't you use a power screwdriver? Because I can never get the torques right on them. And I'm always terrified I'm going to start stripping stuff out if I use a power screwdriver, so I avoid them. The other thing that was kind of interesting is that, I don't know if you remember last week when I pulled this card out, it came with, well, you know, first this crazy power connector, but then secondarily it came with this thing that looked kind of like a stand. And I could not figure out what the heck that thing was for. And I ended up looking at, and there was no documentation, like nowhere was documentation of this little stand. It was about this tall. Ends up, that stand is for, you know, I'm going to snap this card in this direction, right? So it's going to be snapped horizontally, and it puts so much torque because it weighs 8 pounds. That stand is designed to sit on the back somehow. I could never figure out how to do this. And support it, hold it up. So I'm going to go ahead and risk not putting that in at this point, mainly because I can't figure out how to do it, but secondarily because I'm going to bolt this thing down like you would never believe. Again, guys, it's really hard for me to multitask here, so God, I love that smell. All right. Trying to avoid touching anything metallic here. All right. So the only problem I've got is I've got a one little control cable for the CPU. Looks like it fit good. All right. Maybe this won't be nearly as painful as I thought it was going to be. Oh, I should not have said that. I completely cursed myself, haven't I? I'll give you a sexy picture in just a minute. Let me get this thing tight as a drum. Hey, if you get a chance, you should go check out my LinkedIn. I made a post on guilty pleasure YouTube channels. This is scary. The metal's never that strong, and it's just so easy to strip these out. And if they're stripped out, I got one other 16-lane slot I could move to, but I'd rather just not strip it out. But on the same token, this card is so heavy. I'm in a little bit of a panic about this. I don't have that magical stand. Boy, is that a pretty, that is just pretty. I'm going to put the proprietary power connector in. It's too easy. It was right. All right. Okay, kids. If this explodes, don't say I didn't warn you, all right? I'm going to have to feed all these cables. Well, let me at least give you the fashion picture here. So I have no idea what to do with these, so I'm going to just do this kind of number for now, and I'll make them prettier later. I hope this works. I'm not holding my breath at all. I don't even care if it doesn't work. What I'm in more of a panic about than anything else is that I make smoke come out. You know that all CPUs are made, all electronic components are made from smoke, right? You ever heard that old line? They're all made from smoke. All integrated circuits are made from smoke. And if you ever make the smoke come out of an integrated circuit, well, you've killed it. I have, this machine is using 7 discrete PCIe power connectors. Way more than I've ever used before. Dave Rush is in a panic right now. Dave doesn't like it when I do stuff for the first time on live television. I don't know why. Okay. Mike, you fool. I'm doing it. One of these is HDMI. Yeah. First try. Alright, so let's get a little more close-up going here so you guys can see what's happening. Oops, hang on. And let me zoom that puppy in a little bit so you guys can see. So you see I've got all 4 powers connected just like this. See, here's the point where I really wish I could see the chat window better, because somebody's invariably going, Mike, you're making some huge mistake. Dave Rush, not my money. So I'm a little worried that because I'm using undedicated PCIe that it won't get enough juice. But again, that won't cause any problems, it just won't boot. So, cowabunga. Oh man. Watch Mike melt $4,000 worth of equipment. It's booting. The card is very pretty. Here, I'm just going to go by hand with this camera so you guys can see what's going on. I don't have a lot of play here. All right, so as you guys can see, it came. Oh, here's the more important part. It lives! Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Let me get this back down on the mount. We don't like dropping $600 cameras for some reason. I don't know why. Let me get this back so you guys can see my shining visage. There we go. It booted. First try. I'm losing my snap. Alright, so I almost kind of want to let it keep going for a while. It's got that new video card smell. You know what I'm talking about when they first light up? Fans are spinning good. Dang. Cables aren't physically hot. So there's a lot of questions here. Number one, now would be the time to be installing Windows for sure. Get Windows installed. It'll come up in 800 by 600 mode. That's what they do. And then get the right drivers on there. The video card actually comes with the Windows drivers on a thumb drive, which is very convenient, I might add. But yeah, without the right boot device, the one thing I had control over and I messed that up, I'm not going to be able to move any further than this. But I am so excited that it's alive. But I got to leave it running. I believe in the power of a burn-in, man, and I'm just going to let it go and let it sit here for, you know, a true burn-in for me would be a minimum of 1 hour. That would be a minimum burn-in. And a proper burn-in would be leaving it on overnight. You'd be shocked how even a little bit of blockage of your airflow won't show up in the first hour or 2 hours, but man, it'll start showing up later. Still not getting a lot of heat, but again, I'm not pushing the card at all right now, right? I mean, without the Windows drivers installed, we're just not making this card work very hard for a living. But boy, is it shiny and pretty. I'm real happy with the way it looks. The post is flipping between 62 and something else. The thing is with these post detectors is once the computer's booted up, you need to ignore them. Because from here on in, those 2-digit codes are just going to be showing you gibberish. You know, whatever happens to be, you know, on those bus lines will manifest there, but you know, once the machine's up and running, it doesn't really mean anything. In fact, I'm surprised it's still running. A lot of them will turn off once they detect that the operating system is kicked in. Actually, there might be a good reason it's not doing it, is because I don't actually have Windows installed on this yet, so it doesn't really see that. And it will separate the Windows pre-installation environment, or in this case, the repair environment, because I did it the wrong way. And but it's up and cooking. First try! Come on, guys. I think I deserve a big round of applause. You may begin. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. So I'm really excited. Well, here, let me just prove so you guys don't think I'm full of the spoop. It's all booted up. Here, keyboard's working, huh? I know. There's really no command line stuff I can do right here, which is too bad. Okay, I can see the contents of my boot drive. Yay! All right. But I'm excited, man. I gotta tell you, I'm one of these people who just gets a lot of joy out of something. I get more joy out of stuff than most people do. I also get more sadness out of stuff than most people do. I can just kind of sit here and look at my very unprogrammed delights and say to myself, I have done good. First try. Accept no compromises. All right, well, I tell you what I will do is next week when we come back, Steve will be here on Wednesday, but on Monday we'll go ahead and do one more thing. And if my house burns down between now and then, you guys can call the fire department for me. But the other thing I'd love to have, and I just don't have one, is a power usage meter, which is something I traditionally do have. It looks like a little piece of extension cord. You plug one side into the outlet, you plug the other side into your whatever you're using to power your devices, and it can actually monitor how much data is being pulled at any given moment. So I'm heading over to Micro Center again today anyway, so we're going to probably pick one of those up on there. So exciting! Happy days. Let's see if anybody has any commentary on that. Ooh, a lot of people chattering away. All right, let me just start way back up at the top. Jan Khan, number one, in IT field programming is good or networking for future? I see. I'm not really sure in the IT field, comma, programming, they're two totally different things. You're almost asking me, is it better to be a plumber or an auto mechanic? Well, they're both fine, but pick one. You know, they're very different. Okay, let me make a better example. Do you want to be an automobile designer or an automobile repair person? Even that analogy's weak, but they're very different things. So Jan, I would ask you, which one sounds more passionate? Do you want to program, or are you looking to be a network person? So that would be the way to answer that question. You'd have to answer it for yourself. So cool. It's like no heat. Windows is, I'm still at the command line. Number two, if networking is better, which courses should we study from to begin to hire? Okay, Jan, no worries there. I can figure out your English. Probably, if you're looking at network, I would recommend that you start off with the CompTIA Network Plus. What a great, it's very much a learning certification. Not a lot of people ask for it job-wise, but man, in terms of a body of knowledge that helps you get where you need to be, I cannot recommend Network Plus more than anything else. Network Plus, probably do Security Plus because everybody's doing Security Plus these days, and then go from there. Which field is easy and good in cybersecurity? Easy means nothing to me. I don't even like that word easy. To me, things are fun or boring. What most people call boring, what most people call easy, I call boring. And what most people call hard, I call fun. If you're looking for an easy route for your life, because it sounds like you are, please don't get into computing. Seriously, become an electrician. There's so many other great jobs to do other than that. If you don't have a passion and a love for this stuff, you need to think about where you want to be and what you want to do. And there is no shame in that either. You know, be what you want to be. I like networking. I'm not a big fan of programming. All right, so here, I got an answer for you. Where are you the most passionate about? And that's your own thing to answer. I am not very passionate about programming. I am a script kiddie, and I can steal other people's code to make it do the things I want it to do, but I rarely would, I wouldn't want to do that as much as I like, you know, regular networking, configuring routers and switches, setting up, you know, security, IPS, all that fun stuff. So, how's that for an answer? All right. Patricia Grace, 2 years since meeting. Patricia, you're like old school here. Mohammed, good to see you again, brother. Bearded IT Dad, I already said hello to you. Maven, good to see you. Scott S, good to see you again. Did I test if the M.2 needed to be in the spot 1 to be a boot drive? I did not. But that answer will come up real quick the moment I get a proper Windows boot media. And if Windows does not see those M.2 drives, I know I got a problem. That's just hard for me to believe that that's the case. knock on wood, but you're going to have to wait till next week before I test that one for you. Sorry, man. Blake C, good to see you, man. Andre, of course. Krampus Dumpling, good to see you. Awesome. Didn't you forget something? I didn't see any Oh yeah, okay, this is from earlier before I snapped it in. I told you, Andre, I was going to install the graphics card on camera. And I did. So this is the only problem because I don't get to your questions or your commentary. Like Scott Wolf said, whoa. So I'm assuming he's talking about the messy back of my system. And Andre, oh look, spaghetti, Krampus, mom spaghetti. For the record, guys, it may be spaghetti. It is. It is spaghetti. But if you were to look at it more carefully, I really do a good job of laying cables as flat as I can. If you were to look more closely, the only problem child I have in the back there is the hub for all the RGBs. I could rip those out right now and have a perfectly functional system without the pretty lights. And, but I want the lights, so. So it may look a little spaghetti-ish, but it's actually pretty well put together. And man, it looks so good on this side too. Still no heat. All right. The black cables are too dark. Signals get lost because what the hell? Sorry. Black cables are too dark. Signals get lost because they can't. So, God, Andre, why do I even take you seriously? I don't even know. You totally had me hooked on that one. Apollo 13, isn't that when they said, Houston, we have a problem? Houston didn't have any problems. Well, I mean, the thing is, man, I buckled this together. I'm not even sure about this type of wiring setup, you know, where I just have two PCIEs, but they're not on separate rails. This is a, believe it or not, this Wampin power supply is only 2 rails. So these are coming off, they're coming off of shared rails. So, and it's booting up, you know, the test is going to be when I get Windows installed, and then we're going to see what happens. For the record, I will not install the drivers before you guys get to see me on Monday. I promise. I will go ahead and get Windows fully installed and see if I can come up into safe mode, or what do they call it now? Reduced graphics mode. And so make sure that's all up and running. And then once that's cooking, then I'll go in and I'll install the drivers on camera. And that ought to be something interesting to see. I'm assuming the drivers have some kind of benchmarking tool on them too, video card benchmarking tool. Now watch it all go burn. All right. Techie Tommy. Told it, oh, when I had the other camera on, you could see my one monitor that actually controls all this and where I'm reading the screen and all that. Told it, do you have a nice Linux distro lying around on a USB drive? I don't, but you know, again, I could have made. I'm happy with where we're at. Why not install it? Okay, Andre, I'm just going to ignore you for the rest of the time here. So the moment I see @ signs in conversation, I tend to skip them very quickly, guys. So I'm just looking here. Techie Tommy. So I've started setting up an IT lab in Azure. Cool. To learn how to use Active Directory. Great place to do that. Just got it set up last night. Now it's fun time. Well, it is fun time. And so Techie Tommy, do keep aware. Be here next week on Wednesday because Steve is going to be coming in and we're going to have an Active Directory discussion. And we're going to talk about like how do you study for Active Directory. You know, and you know the funny part is I have never thought about setting up an Azure cloud to study Active Directory. That's a genius idea. I'm just old-fashioned, and I'm always one of those people who wants to set up a box locally, or at least do a local VM. But Techie Tommy, that's a good idea. That's a very good idea. I should design a lab for that in my copious spare time. But Techie Tommy again, much to my dismay, a lot of the job postings I see want AD experience. So I want to talk about that too. And again, this just came up like today on LinkedIn. And again, guys, if you're not, at least follow me or connect to me if you'd like on LinkedIn, because there's so many great articles there. LinkedIn is really the professional Facebook of the day. Look at me touching these. I go. It's only 12 volts. But there was an article on LinkedIn today I just thought was profound. And Techie Tommy, it's exactly what you're talking about. So this guy was looking for a couple of gigs. You know, he had his A+. That's all he had. And he's got some great job. I don't want to lie, but it's a nice job. A good paying, very good paying job. And what he did is he went, Techie Tommy did exactly what you were doing, is he just went ahead and started setting up AD. And the thing is if you're going to learn Active Directory, setting up a single Active Directory server is great, but if you really want to get a better feel of it, you should set up, at least for starters, 2 of them. I still call them primary and backup domain controllers. That's not what they are. They're all equal today. If you set up 2 ADs, machines, and put them on the same Active Directory domain, they'll automatically start talking to each other if they're in the same broadcast domain. So that's all kind of auto magic. But when you start setting up forests and things like that, that's where it becomes a lot more interesting, in my opinion. And you know, where you have multiple domains and you start connecting trust relationships with the domains, and it all works with NTFS. It's pretty amazing stuff. And to be honest with you, most of these more entry-level type jobs where they say they want Active Directory experience, what they really want is somebody who can do basic Active Directory administration. If you're okay going into your Active Directory and, you know, creating users or, you know, creating objects, make an object called Houston and make another object called Dallas and put users in those and computers at each of those. You know, being able to set up some basic security controls, I mean, just password complexity and stuff like that. And then set up a few basic auditing tools, like, you know, Windows Active Directory by default will log when someone is unsuccessful logging in. That's just part of the default setup. But a lot of people like to set it up so that anytime someone logs in, whether they're successful or unsuccessful, it logs it. And it's fairly trivial to set up. And you know, a couple little things like that might be fun. So the other thing, while we're talking about security controls, this is all going to be underneath group policy objects. And having a basic understanding of domain versus local objects. So like on your local machine, you can set up a policy that says require, you know, allow a simple password. But if you're a member of a domain and that domain has a group policy object that says requires a complex password, it's going to be complex. So understanding how group policy objects, local versus domains, affect each other would be a good one too. And then the last one would be working with NTFS. In particular, network shares versus locals. And just being able to, you know, connect to another machine or connect to the server, drag a file from the server down to you, just making, you know, doing that the first time. The other thing that's really good about DNS, come to think of it, is, the other thing that's good about Active Directory is that an Active Directory controller, unless it's a very unique situation, must be a DNS server. And so you get a big lesson in DNS with Active Directory, in particular setting it up as root if you don't want it to go out to the internet. A lot of times you got a domain machine, you don't want it on the internet, right? It's a local setup. You don't want hackers getting in there. And so setting some of that stuff up is kind of cool too. I'm going to make sure Steve covers all this on Wednesday, Techie Tommy. So show back up. Heck, you're probably going to be ahead of us if you got 5 days to beat us. But Techie Tommy, what I'm telling you is this guy got a great job without Active Directory paid experience. He just did it on his own, enough that he could get to a technical interview. Do you understand? And by being able to say the right words and all that, you know, it got him a great job. All right, so I can't even read the time. I can see nothing. Hang on, guys. The lights. Gosh, it's 2:40 already. Sorry, Dave's talking to me. All right, so we got plenty of time. Let's go ahead and knock this out. So, guys, do keep in mind that, first of all, just because you guys are kind enough to show up today, we have our usual great deal. You get our combination ebook and practice questions, what we call the Total Tester, for 50% off. So to take advantage of this offer, all you got to do is head over to, nice and cool, not ice cold anymore, is head over to www.totalsem.com, TotalSem.com. And when you're over there, head over to the merchant area, and let's say you're interested in Network Plus. Jan, here you go. Go pick up the Network Plus ebook. Not the paper book, it's got to be the ebook. Get the ebook, and then get the practice questions for Network Plus, and put those each one of those in your cart. And then just before you check out, type in the code. Where is it this week? Rankin, R-A-N-K-I-N. So just type in the code Rankin, and you get it for half off, which is ridiculous. Absolutely amazing deal. Take advantage of that. Dave has put my LinkedIn connection there. Please take advantage of that. Also, keep in mind, we do have a Discord channel. Dave Rush has posted up an invitation for you to join our Discord channel. Please join us. It's a fun place, and you get to see Andres, what he really looks like. That's a lot of fun, too. Okay. I don't know why they call them microphones. All right. Dave Rush, why is the motherboard sagging? I will tell you, when I mounted this motherboard, on most motherboards, I don't really bother to put a screw in every standout. In fact, most of the time, I'll just put in one screw and start mounting all my cables, mainly because there's about a 50-50 chance I'll mess something up and I've got to remove the motherboard anyway, and then I'll just put all the rest of the screws in. Which really means most of the time I forget to put the rest of the screws in, and I have many systems around here that have one screw in the motherboard. Okay, maybe not that bad, but it does tend to happen. Ooh, Bearded IT Dad, it does have a vent. My problem with putting 3 more fans here at the bottom is, as Bearded IT Dad very astutely said, there is a screen there. It is meant to be an output. However, how much output? I mean, we got a lot of heat going through this sucker. I'm just going to go for it, you know. So the one kind of stinky part about this, I have this beautiful Leon Lee case, and this piece is glass, and I'm going to literally have to push them against the glass. It's going to be ugly, but there's no choice. That's just how it's going to be. Glad things mounted in there good. Oops. Can't hurt yourself touching a fan. This whole thing is weighing a good 30 plus 25 pounds. It's a heavy case. But yes, Bearded IT Dad, thank you for bringing that to my attention. That's a very important point. Yeah, Techie Tommy, there's nothing wrong with being a Mac guy. I like Macs. I don't use them as much as PCs. I make more money on PCs. But I have something I can put on my resume as I play around with. Sure. Don't say play around with, Techie Tommy. Say researched. I don't game except for Zork or Super Mario Brothers. Techie Tommy, you should consider upgrading your games. Nope, the Smoke Genie stayed in, Bearded IT Dad, so we're getting there. Will Shaw, what could go wrong? Nothing went wrong, Will. Mike Meyers, popular author. Okay. You're not allowed to touch the connector? Scott S? Yeah, well, I'm touching it. Oh, you said just kidding. Never mind. Bazinga, funny. No flames. And for the record, if I can squeeze it in next week, why is the keyboard going nuts? Oh, because I did that. I also have a beautiful, I'm going blank. What is the NVIDIA refresh changing called? Can't believe I forgot. Anyway, I got a really great gaming monitor, a full-blown, a true 4K monitor for gaming, and so come Monday, I'm going to bring that monitor on board here too. I'm going to have to put another of these monitors on the floor, I think, but we'll bring that in and see if we can really push this sucker. I can pretty much guarantee you I'm not going to be able to show you the screen, so I'm going to have to use one of my cameras and literally point at the monitor so you guys can watch it happen, but I'll do it pretty. That should be interesting. Will Shaw, I am now going to ignore you because you're saying CGA. Oh God, lots of people asking questions. All right, let me get serious about this. Lots of claps, yay! Ben Bork, hey Ben. Cooley McCoolson, I never get tired of that name. It's a blessing and a curse to live near a micro center. It's also a blessing and a curse to sell your company and have enough cash to buy something like this and not really worry about it. Life's not bad, guys. I'm not complaining. Mike, how does one learn more about RTS, real-time strategy for cars? Is that like that YouTube channel, Idiots in Cars, or is that a subreddit? RTS? RTOS. I don't know what RTOS is. Somebody help me. I could look it up here. What is RTOS? Real-time operating system. Is that what you mean? I have no idea where one could do that. Told it. I will get a nice UPS. I'll get a super high joule UPS. I'm actually thinking I'm going to need like 10, 12,000 joule UPS on this beast. I mean, I want it to run for a few minutes. And if power goes out, the card's still going to have to work, especially if I'm in the middle of something. Yeah, I'm going to end up spending $300 on a UPS. Are one of my radiator fans not spinning? They're all spinning. Don Odinga, you missed the Monday. Did you miss a lot? We started building the system, Don, and we didn't have the case yet, and we did a basic build, got the system booted up, got the CMOS, which was not too bad. Mike, here's a real question. You play Roblox? No, no Roblox. I gotta be honest with you, right now, Tolowit, I don't want to say it's too loud, I actually blew the dust off of one of my World of Warcraft characters, and I started to play my hunter a little bit. And no, you know, somebody's got to excite me about Roblox. I'll play anything these days. I'm looking for a game to play. I'm a social person, you know. Ooh, Andre, that's a good point. If you install Windows, better not run the updates. It might install the drivers as well. I'll bet you nickel it would. Going over hybrid ad setups wins? Compass, what language are you speaking to me? Speak the King's English, lad. Oh yeah, over the weekend I got re-addicted to Nicorette. I know. I was hanging out with a bunch of folks, so they're all smoking cigars. And I took a tug on a cigar, and then nicotine is a vicious drug, dudes. But hopefully by this time next week I'll be off of these Nicorettes and back to stage one. No backwards, only forwards. It would be cool if you put the build parts list in the video description. Tolwit, I will try to do that. But that is a very good idea. Thank you for that. I'm just having fun reading everything. Rankine is in the temperature scale. It's a standout, Dave. Alright, so I see at times Wilshaw use the Rankine scale a lot in high speed. Okay. I forgot what Rankine is. Fahrenheit, Celsius, Kelvin, but Rankine, I don't know what Rankine is. I used to know. So Dave, with 6 fans running, including the 3 fans on the graphics card itself, these are 120 fans. I guarantee you, well here, I mean here's the mic right here. It's extremely quiet. I'm not overly concerned about sound. Big fans, spin slow, less noise, right? That's half the joy of that. So what I did, the other thing I did is I've got it set up so I can support up to 4 3.5-inch drives. And since I got to go to Micro Center already, I am literally on the air going to text my girlfriend and tell her we need routers and 4 3.5 drives. She has no idea what this means, but it's like the perfect ways to leave notes. Just text your significant other, and then later they'll be like, "What's this all about?" And you're like, "Oh yeah." Plus the 3 fans on the GPU and the cooling solution fan. You're using more energy on moving air than on processing. I don't know. Dave, you used to be so much fun back in the old days. What happened to you? Don't you see the pretty lights? Come on, man. That Dave Rush. Just trying to get to the questions, folks. Bear with me. Man, it's 32 RAM, 32 gig. 32 gig would be, in my opinion, a minimum for gaming. It's overkill for a lot of games, but it's not overkill for all the games. And the other thing is 32 gigs of RAM is almost... Why put in less? You know what I mean? G-Sync, thank you, Ben Bork. That was driving me crazy. I have a G-Sync monitor. It's a beautiful monitor too, man. 27-incher, 16 by 9. It's got G-Sync in it, defaults at 120 hertz. It's got all these outputs. So the other thing I want to do with this, just so you guys know, instead of doing multiple monitors, once I know that everything's good and running, I'm going to go back to the store and I'm going to get one of these huge monitors. And I'm seriously considering even getting a curved monitor, really. And what they do is you use your multiple inputs, and there's this piece of software, I have it written down somewhere, that actually separates your single monitor into multiple monitors. I just want to try it, that's why. But I want to give this a whirl. So we're actually... I've been a 2-monitor guy for going on 20 years now. But that bezel in the middle has always been a little bit of an issue for me. And especially for gaming, a nice curved monitor. And guys, I'm talking like this. The thing is huge. Don't ask. And you know, that could be the monitor that takes me into the, I was going to say into the next century, into the next decade. Here we go. G-Sync. JT8Ds were loud. JT8Ds. Is that a jet engine by some chance? So anyway, Matt, to finish your question, I consider 64 gig for a serious desktop to be maybe not a minimum, but a good sweet spot. especially if you're doing a lot of VMs, and especially if you're doing a lot of VMs and you don't want to turn them off. I remember, like if you're doing a local virtual machine network and you want one of those to be an Active Directory server, you'll use all that 64 gigs of RAM, especially because you got to remember, when you're studying Active Directory, setting up the server is great. And that's an important part, and going through that process is important. But then setting up a second server is also important. Maybe you want to set up a third. You want to set up, one forest with 3 different domains in it, or something like that. So you got those, but then you need clients, right? I mean, if you're going to set up an Active Directory server, you want to connect to it. You want to have your machine join the Active Directory and all that. And so going to something with a lot of RAM can be important. That might be an issue you're going to run into. I've never done it. Is if you're using Azure to set up Active Directory, are you going to run into memory limitations in the cloud? I don't know. Blue Hunted, software engineer or network engineer? Blue, do what you want to do. What sounds like more fun? I'm very disinterested in anybody saying, how do I make the most money? Well, become a CEO. Or number 2, what's easier? I'm not going to repeat the sermon I already gave, but follow your passion. You're talking about 2 very, very different things there, Blue. So you've got to make a choice. What sounds like fun? That's really all you got to go by. Oh, Krampus, we were going to be going over Active Directory today. Unfortunately, Steve is in the middle of a hurricane. He lives in Florida, and we had to delay it a week, so I apologize. Krampus, we will be doing Active Directory next week. Guaranteed, there's no more hurricanes coming. Well, I haven't looked yet today. We'll see. I got a big scroll in here. Bearded Rob, anybody heard about Western Governors University, WGU? I know a lot of people who use WGU. My problem with Western Governors is how much does it cost? Because I don't have any sense of that. But I know lots of people who have that degree and they're working, so that's really all I care about. Price, I would worry about that. I don't think the mic is working. Oh, that was earlier from what I had. Yeah, but Western Governors is good. Nothing wrong with that. Texting to girlfriend. We need more IT stuff. No, let's see if she's responded yet. Okay, her response is great. Well, we shall get those. Too funny. So you just don't tell her, yeah, that's going to work. Rankin is absolute 0 scale for Fahrenheit, like Kelvin is. Ah! Thanks, Will. That's actually a wonderful way to describe it, too. That worked great. Thank you. Well, Andre, that's what you get for getting married, man. Can't use a curved monitor for a magic mirror. Dave, I'm not sure what a magic mirror is, other than the one from Romper Room. Looking for questions. Heavy D. Oh, sorry. Not keeping up with Dave Rush here. All right. Yeah, guys, I'm just trying to get to the questions here. Andre, I'm ignoring you now. Patricia, Hurricane Schmurricane. I'm sure the fans will ramp up once the GPU is plugged in. And well, the GPU is plugged into a monitor right now. It is outputting, so you guys can see it, but I'm running a splitter. And so we're actually running Let's see if I can make a mess again. Everything's all tied together here. Okay. What's wrong? There we go. All right, so if you guys want to see what I got going here. So this little guy here, this is my, so I can tell which camera I'm running. All that is. So this is a little teeny tiny, almost like a laptop monitor. But you can see I've got the signal going to a full-blown one as well. So it is on a monitor now, but we just don't have any kind of real drivers to challenge it. But we will. Yeah, so next week's going to end up being kind of fun, isn't it, guys? We'll do the system build on Monday, put a lid on this, and then Wednesday we'll do Active Directory, so it should be a lot of fun. And lost everything here. That seems to be, it is a nice computer, Blake, see? I'm pretty proud of it. Hopefully, come Monday, if the driver installation isn't too long, we can do some benchmarks and just see how powerful this puppy is. Should be fun. Oh, Magic Mirror is a Pi project. Thank you, Krampus. I had no idea. You move the HDMI display port. I'm only doing HDMI here right now. No, okay, Total, just for technical sake, I got an HDMI coming out of the back of this, and I bought a special HDMI splitter. So one of the splitters goes into my switcher box so I can show it to you guys, and the other side goes to this monitor so I can read the screen, because I cannot read the screen, otherwise it's too small. Alright guys, it's after 3 already. Alright, anybody want to do a competition today? If you want to do a competition, say yes right now. Come on, peoples. Anthony, where have you been? Bearded Rob wants to do a competition. Blake C, Cooley McCoolson, right now. Okay, no, we're going to do it right now. Oh, type in yes right now. Oh, God, you guys. All right. What can we do for a competition? You want to do another A+y one? Sure, why not? What's the latest version of PCIe? I'll give you a clue. It's not 1.0. PCIe has gone through a number of versions. What is the current fastest, the newest PCIe standard? That's it. Just type in what the PCIe standard is. I'm just giving you guys a chance. Okay, all right, we got some people in there. All right, so the answer is PCIe 5 is the current version, which is interesting because I'm worried that this motherboard does not do PCIe 5, which would have been a big mistake on my part. Probably be okay, because PCIe 5 is really a throughput issue more than anything else. And, well, it's too late now. I've already bought it all. I've opened the boxes. But it's PCIe 5. So, who is the winner today? Scott S. passes. We'll shop. Patricia Grace. Patricia, do you want... Patricia, you won. Do you want the prize or are you passing? Patricia, you need to type something in so we know where we're at. Scott S., I thought the 4090 was PCIe 4. I don't remember. I've forgotten. Quick, Patricia, type in whether you want it or not. 3, 2, 1. Yay! Patricia Grace is the winner. It's been a while. Okay. No, you don't get the Amazon gift card. You get the 90-day free access to the practice questions of your choice, Patricia. Patricia, congratulations. You've won 90-day free access to any of the practice questions we have on the Total Seminars library. Keep in mind, Total Seminars has many, many, many different sets of practice questions, way beyond just A+, Net+, and Security+. And Patricia, you've won. Now, Patricia, in order to take your prize, you've got to send an email to my buddy Dave Rush. Dave Rush's email is, and don't panic, Patricia, he's going to put it all in the chat window. Send an email to Dave Rush. That's drush@totalsem.com, TOTALSEM.com. Send him an email. Patricia, put your name in there. Put your email address in there, even though it is an email. Put your email address in the body. And number 3, tell us what you want. And Dave will take care of that for you. So congratulations. Big round of applause to Patricia Grace. You are the winner. Okay, guys, it's after 3, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you so much for hanging around with me a little bit. I know the drill. Good girl. Congo Rats. I'm going to remember that one, Cooley McCoolson. Do remember that Dave's going to be on this Friday for the Dave Rush AMA, DRAMA drama. And he'll be doing fun stuff, as always, with a Raspberry Pi. And other than that, I think we're all covered. Folks, again, Monday is going to be finishing the system build. I'll have most of the glass and everything put back on by then. I'll have it all back on. I'll even have the bottom fans on. Oh, I just realized I made a big mistake. I'm not even going to tell you guys what it is. I didn't leave I'll tell you. I didn't leave enough cabling for these bottom 3 fans to get to the hub for the RGB. I'll figure it out. So Monday we're going to be doing that. Wednesday is going to be Active Directory with Steve Nicholson, which will be a lot of fun. So please come back. Next week's going to be a fun week. We didn't make smoke today. I'm pretty excited about that. And this is your Uncle Mikey signing off. And I will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.